Morning, y'all. Thanks for checking out this episode of Bridge the Gap. This is one that I'm super excited about with someone that I've followed and admired for a long time, Andy Mewborn, the CEO and founder of Distribute. Why is this so important? He was one of the number one first reps at Outreach. He's done it all. He's scaled 0 to 100 plus and has built and sold quite a few companies since then. Listen to the very end to find his most crucial tip for how to stand out in today's crowded market when building top of funnel and navigating deals through your pipeline. Welcome back to another episode of the Bridge the Gap podcast powered by Revenue Reimagined. We have with us today Andy Mewborn, who is the founder of Distribute, an all-in-one workspace for GTM playbooks, which we'll talk about. He founded and sold the small little company you might have heard of that I used called Taplio. He created Brand 30, which is a 4K strong LinkedIn group that has helped me early days, my wife and some others actually build and scale their LinkedIn presence, and got his start in tech with this small little company as like a first 50 employee called Outreach. Some of you might have heard of it. Andy, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you made me sound so cool. Thank you.
Right? That's the only reason Dale keeps me around is because I do a damn good
intro.
You
do a damn good intro. I'm like,
it's the radio in me.
Yeah. Those are all great. And shit, I'm just like, damn, when I started all that stuff, people are like, how do you start these things? And I'm just like, dude, I just follow my curiosity and you put it out there and then that's kind of it. I have no secrets on that stuff. And it's just like, even Outreach, I was like, funny story on that, which I'll tell you, which is people were like, oh, what made you join Outreach? And honestly, I was in Chile before and me and my buddy, we were doing like the Y.
I'm assuming that's what I call Chile.
Chile, yeah, Chile, okay. Chile, whatever you want to call it.
You pronounced it right, I pronounced it wrong.
Yeah, who knows what the actual thing is? But we were in Chile. We were doing solar. We were in like the Y Combinator of Chile. So it's called Startup Chile, which is this program right after college, right? And so this was years ago. But I studied engineering, right? So we were doing solar stuff, and we had developed like the solar technology. We were trying to sell it. And, I was doing engineering and sales and I was like, this process sucks. Like you could automate this whole thing. And then after we sold that company, not for crazy money or anything, but we sold it off in our contracts and all that fun stuff. And, we were 23 at the time or 22 still, I think. And we were like, all right, what do we do now? And I was like, well, I need to build this thing that automates this whole sales email flow. And then when I got back to Seattle, which is actually where I went to college, my one buddy was like, dude, there's already these guys like building that. You should just go join them. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Interesting. So take a look. And then it turned out to be a great decision. Right. So yeah, that was kind of always experiencing the problem is kind of like, I think it's a hack for building anything new. And we can kind of get more into that stuff. But
I love the curiosity side of what you were saying. Like a lot of people do. Like it's almost born out of necessity as well. So like you're in a place and you're like, okay, there's a better way to do this thing. And like, how do I do it? And it may be just building a better widget as well. But it kind of like, as we go through this, so when we're working with a lot of our clients, we talk about like bridging this gap. And so like, it feels like the go-to-market gap is getting wider and wider. It's like, how do you do top of funnel? How do you get mid funnel? What's your close ratios, et cetera, et cetera. So as you started moving out and building Distribute, like you're at what we're calling like a stabilization phase. Like you're trying to figure out the ICP, buying persona, value proposition, what's going to stick in the market, what's the differentiator. What are some of the big gaps that you're seeing in the first part of the funnel, and how are you guys looking to solve that at Distribute?
Man, I got a lot of gaps. I'll tell you. We can start with the first one. I got a list of gaps, but that's how it goes with building something. So on Distribute, we're definitely taking like the big platform play, right? So there's pros and cons to that. So just to give y'all context before I kind of get into the gaps, so you kind of can understand, right?
Yeah.
So the big gaps, if you think about like Distribute, like we're in a competitive space, as Adam and I were talking about before. We're also going for the platform play. So you could build a widget in today's world. You
like
could
Miro.
also build.
You could go like You can go like narrow in a niche and like, we're going to nail that market, or you can go horizontal.
Yeah. Like you can go narrow. Like I built Andy's LinkedIn tool.com in a weekend, which is out now. It's like my new LinkedIn tool. And, I founded Taplio too, blah, blah, blah. But I built it in a weekend. It's already making 10K a month, so, and like, which is crazy. Right. So, and I'm an engineer by trade. So I don't think everyone, I move fast, and I've been doing this for 10,
and you
15
break
years,
stuff along the way, and then you just fix it.
Yeah, I put it out there and I do it. And I'm like, all right, we'll figure out the things later.
That's very interesting. I didn't know you were an engineer by trade, because I know you from Brand 30 initially, and you are so outgoing and friendly and arguably boisterous, like the sales guy, right?
Yeah. I get that all the time. Yeah. I'm a yapper, Adam. I'm a yapper.
But very anti-engineer. But now that explains why not only have you been able to build the stuff from I'm going to build it and tinker it, but also scale it, because you have that personality and arguably have the sales chops as well. Super fascinating.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite quotes. My mom had a version of this. So I'm going to, Naval, you guys know Naval, like the tech philosopher guy. But he has this great quote, which is like, learn to build, learn to sell. If you can do both, you'll be unstoppable. Right. And it's so true. My mom, growing up, used to tell me a version of that. My mom's also like an entrepreneur and all that, so she would tell me, she's like, hey, you got to learn to build things, and you got to learn how, when you build them, how to get people to buy them, basically the same thing. And that's why I studied engineering in the first place, right? I was like, all right, I got to get good at building and then outreach. And my whole life is just kind of molded like that. Maybe, I don't know if it's my mom or what, but, seeing my mom do this stuff, she built X-ray labs in California. So, she would do that, and then she'd have to go get orthodontists to refer her patients and blah, 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 blah. So, and she did that coming from Mexico illegally back in the day. And me and her grew up in the projects of LA, me with a single mom. So she started out from nothing. Right. And, so when it comes to like going from 0 to 1, like we've seen it, I've seen the poorest of the poor. And then now I'm very fortunate to be in another circumstance. But going back to it, like, I think that's the secret to, education. We can get into this, but like when I look at my son, I have a 2.5-year-old. I'm like, all right, learn to build stuff, man. And once you start building, we're going to teach you how to get it out there and get people to want it. Right. And so that's how I want my kids to be educated as well. And, so yeah, we went on a tangent here, but just going off, going back to your original question, what's the gap? Okay. So let's go into that. So now that I told you guys that, the gap here, it's really noisy in the go-to-market space right now. Everyone and their abuelita, is out there trying to build a go-to-market SaaS tool. So, it's tough. And going back to what I was just saying, you can build a niche tool and you can have customers day one. Mm-hmm. Or you can build a platform which fills many use cases, can't be copied over a weekend. And, it's a bigger play. You're trying to go enterprise and all that stuff. So definitely a difference in the types of things you build, right? Now on the platform side, the gaps are that there's multiple use cases. So what do you focus on, right? Like you got to figure out what that wedge is to get people in, and like, for example, Gong, when they came to market, what was their wedge? It was just a call recorder, right? Call recorder. Now it's everything. Outreach. It was the sequence, right? We can go. Zoom info was the data. Now they got, it goes on and on and on. So they do start niche, I would say, but when you have a deal room by default, you're already starting kind of with multiple use cases, and you need to figure out kind of that wedge to get people in. So we're trying to figure that out, right? And I think all the deal rooms are trying to figure out. So they're going to listen to this and be like, all right, what's his answer? But I haven't figured it out, guys. I'm watching you guys too. So, so we're trying to figure that out. Like, what's the wedge that's going to get us more scalable growth right now? Because we're working our ass off for top of funnel. Like it's,
everyone.
Yeah. It's like
number one problem we hear from founders and CEOs.
Yeah. So back to the stabilization
where the fuck is my
piece.
top of funnel?
Yeah, back to the stabilization piece, Andy, that we were talking about. Like, you have this platform that you're trying to figure out how to get top of funnel. You understand conceptually your buying persona. You understand conceptually your ICP, and you understand conceptually your value proposition. But of that value proposition, it sounds like it goes a bit wide.
Yep.
So it's like, how do I take that one thing that I can like wedge in there and then expand? Like, is it an expansion motion that you guys are looking at?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, land and expand is kind of, definitely the deal. I think for us, it's a couple of things. I think if we can get good reps in there that like are tech savvy initially, like this is the play, which I'm sure you guys know. If we get one or two of those reps, we've had a few accounts that it scales to 60, 80, 100 reps naturally, like without even us having to touch it, because we know how to build product. We're nerds. So we have a good product. Like it just comes down to that. We can get into that. But I think if you were to pick one thing to be good at, it's like have a freaking awesome product.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
and then a lot of the other stuff you don't have to be perfect at. Right.
Yeah.
So we're, even though we have a great product, and it's getting harder to actually do that because now you have to get discovered. But like I said, once we get discovered and reps in there, they go, I can't live without this anymore. Right.
Yeah.
But there's so much noise out there. AI this, AI that, go to market this. I think like I said, everyone and their mom's trying to build for sales tech because you can show an ROI, and everyone is always going to buy things that make them money. Right. Or
can you show an ROI?
What's that?
I see a lot of sales tech out there that's not showing any damn ROI.
Yeah, well, claim ROI. Let's go claim ROI. Yeah. They're all trying to claim it, right?
And that's actually a big topic, right? Is ROI and shifting pricing to ROI based or usage based. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about shifting pricing from per user, per seat, et cetera, et cetera?
So I don't think there's like a golden answer here, right? I think there's agents. So agents are definitely going to be per task, but guess what? Those agents are going to be, you can kind of like gather what they're doing every day, how they're doing every day. And they, after they do their task, it's like a checkbox, right? It's very simple. So that's going to be usage based. That totally makes sense. When you have, more of like a platform type play, that's a lot harder because there are, again, multiple use cases, right? So then as a CFO, and we had this problem at Outreach actually back in the day, which is like we gave people a dialer, right? Which was usage based. And then the dialer, I swear to God, every CFO at every company we worked with was like, why is the bill this much at the end of the month? And like the concept's cool, but the accountants actually hate this usage based pricing from my experience, right? So I think there's like what sounds great, and then also like personally I would rather pay a little more and know what I'm going to pay at the end of the month than not know, because I just don't like that anxiety. Yeah. So if you've ever read Psychology of Money, that's also a great book, highly recommend, and it kind of goes into how people think about money, and not just for the personal lives but business wise. So for me, I personally don't like that. Going full circle back to the Psychology of Money here, I think there's always going to be people that like it and then don't like it. So I don't think there's one best way. Is it a way to differentiate? Sure. Right. Like if, a competitor wants to differentiate in the deal to market and do usage based, great. I just think that's going to be tough, because if you have multiple use cases, pricing, that's going to be a nightmare. Coming up with one price is hard enough.
Like make it simple for people to buy. Reduce the friction on the way, because you're talking about Psychology of Money, which is very interesting, which I think is where AI agents and credits and all that kind of stuff, people don't know how much something costs. Okay, to write an email, it costs this much per credit, but to build a business, an account plan, is this much. So it's a whole other topic. Yeah. One other quick thing I was thinking about as you were talking, how fast do you believe a SaaS technology vendor needs to prove ROI?
Oh, wow. It depends, right? It depends. It goes, how fast do they need to prove ROI? I will say, I don't know if there's a golden answer there, but it's becoming a world where that needs to be very quick, right? And again, it's definitely becoming a world where like, hey, there's so much software out there. Like, how's this going to help us? This is why AI has exploded, by the way, because the ROI on like using an AI model to write you a cold email when it's 99% better than all other emails. Like the ROI is just so clear on a lot of this AI stuff. Sure. So that is also shifting the world and all the other products, right? Yeah. To be like, hey, I'm used to being able to chat and have all the answers at my fingertips. right? So now buyers are kind of, I believe, like shifting in that motion where, hey, 100%. I need to know, like, I message you and I need to know, like, what's this making? Like, what's this producing? What's the output, right? Like, and of course, 100%. Like, I wish it was that easy, but this whole chat, instant answer, and having the world's knowledge at your fingertips, people getting in that motion, they're definitely expecting ROI a lot faster, right? So,
I'm seeing like I went from like 6 to 8 months to like 3 months to like a month. I'm like, like some of the stuff you can't even get people to use it enough from like an adoption perspective to drive the ROI fast enough. So
it's but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, what do you think? That's a great question.
Let's face it, y'all. Hiring sales talent is a real pain in the ass. Getting A players is key to bridging your go-to-market gap, but it's harder than ever. If you're not actively engaging passive talent, you don't stand a damn chance. That's why at Revenue Reimagined, we trust our partners at Pursuit to help our clients find the best talent fast. If you're looking to strengthen your sales team, go check them out at pursuitsalessolutions.com. People buy from people. That's why companies who invest in meaningful connections win. The best part? Gifting doesn't have to be expensive to drive results, just thoughtful. Sendoso's intelligent gifting platform is designed to boost personalized engagement throughout the entire sales process. Trust me, I led sales for a Sendoso competitor, and I could tell you, no one does gifting better than Sendoso. If you're looking for a proven way to win and retain more customers, visit sendoso.com.
Dale, Adam.
On usage-based pricing and ROI-based pricing?
Yeah. What do you think?
So we get asked all the time in similar form, but slightly different. Like, okay, so we're going to contract with you guys. What type of ROI are we going to see, right? Like, we're going to spend X amount of dollars per month. How quickly are we going to see new pipeline, and how quickly are we going to see deals closed? And my answer would be somewhat the same in our world versus your world in software. I can give you all the tools, all the systems, all the processes. I can tell you exactly what to do, how to do, when to do. If your team don't do it, I can't be responsible for that. So to your point, you could have the best tool in the world. Your deal room could have a 97% conversion rate. But if 21 of my 25 reps say, I'm just not going to follow the process, does that mean that you shouldn't get paid? No.
Yeah.
I have an issue with it. Now, where I do think it comes in and where you could drive behavior is, listen, our pricing is XYZ. We could certainly look at some type of incentives or rebates or whatever you want to call them based on ROI at the end of the year towards your renewal. That's a whole separate big calculation we'd have to do. But like, I'd be much more keen to do that versus, sure, we'll give you ROI based pricing and then your team doesn't use it. No, not a fan.
Yeah. It's one of those, it depends, right? Like, and luckily, I don't think everyone is expecting this usage-based pricing. If it's all like agent type stuff where it's like, oh yeah, we go and check your, data to see if someone changed jobs, then like something simple, sure. Like that's usage-based, right? It's all computer-based. It's all like, there's no people in the middle, like great. But yeah, I think just certain, like if you've got humans in there actually using the technology in order to make it work, it's going to be very tough to do the usage-based model. And if it did work and it was profitable, you'd see more companies like SalesLoft and Outreach and all these Apollo. You'd see them doing it. Trust me, they're thinking about it. But and if it was more profitable and would work, they would do it. Now,
of course,
Zapier usage based, right? Again, it's like an agent. Hey, you send one, thing, or
right. You get charged expensive. 1 penny for everything you send. I mean,
exactly. Penny, we sent this to a spreadsheet. There's a penny. Great, right? Like
that was the way I always thought LinkedIn should price data, right? Every time you ping the API, it's a penny or whatever. So then both sides of like everyone can get the information. LinkedIn just put the wall up. We won't go through that process, but
well, I'll tell you kind of like where I think the world's going to differentiate it, if we're talking pricing here, right? So if you go to like the go-to-market elite circle, which is Adam, what we rebranded from Brand 30, I gotta remember to redirect Brand 30. That, by the way, I think it's broken. But here's my reminder. So with that, what did we do? so when I build things, I'm like, well, what's the biggest pain in my ass, and how do I make this tool kind of self-serve, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to deal with churn. I don't want to think about churn. I'm fully focused on distribute, but this is a moneymaker, this tool over here, right? So I said, all right, to prevent churn, what do we do? What do we offer? So we actually offered a community, the brand 30 elite elite circle is what we call it, along with the SaaS. So now, when you're paying the $99 a month for my SaaS, guess what? You are also part of the community. So what does that do? People don't want to leave the community, even if they're not using the SaaS, right? And so we actually played into that. So that's kind of a lot of people hit me up and they're like, "Oh, I see what you're doing here," and it's just a different way to do an offer, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of the way we're actually doing it. Now, this is a low ticket item. This isn't a high ticket. I'm still thinking about how we can make that better, but
it doesn't matter. Like it's all about value to the price of whatever you're charging, right? Yeah. So whether it's a low ticket item or you're charging $50 a user per month, or you're charging, $20,000 for, a year, whatever it sounds like what is the value they're pulling out of it? Back to the, when do we get the ROI and the value question? Like, the faster you can do it. And because we have things like Instagram and all this other stuff that's like instant gratification. So it's not even technology. It's like we have instant gratification all over the place. So people are like, if I can't see value out of it when I log into it and start using it, they just bounce. And so I think that becomes a really tricky, my biggest thing with SaaS today is adoption. And how do you get people into your technology sooner, right? So we started this competition on the Oura Ring. We all have Oura Rings, and we've been thinking about it. But when I think about the app, the Oura Ring app, I go in every day to check how I'm doing against somebody else, to check how what my sleep score was, to check so because I also am an engineer by trade, so my focus goes right to how can I get this person in the app on at least a daily, if not a weekly basis. So there's usability throughout that process.
Yeah.
And the Oura Ring is a dumb app. It's not there's smart stuff in there, but it's not you don't think when I wake up in the morning, I should check my Oura Ring app. You should check, I'm checking LinkedIn or I'm checking something else.
Is Adam on it? Is Adam on the Oura Ring app?
All of our partners.
You got is that two, Adam, or is one a wedding ring?
One's a wedding ring.
Okay, I was like, okay, he's doing A/B testing, little nerd over here, dude. Okay, dude. So guys, my wife lost my Oura Ring and my wedding ring somehow. So literally 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to find it. So I was gonna say let's add you, but I just thought so I got to go actually freaking find my wedding ring and my Oura. But
I would prioritize the wedding ring if I were you. Just a little bit of merit advice as someone who's on number 2.
Oh, are you on number 2 as well? Oh, okay. Adam Robinson, we were wake surfing last weekend, and nice. I was like, my wife was like, "Oh, take your rings off," and I'm like, "Remember, I don't have my rings." She's like, "Oh shit, yeah," and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, dude. I've gone through 3 of them." And I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." So I'm not.
That's why. So true.
Adam was talking about wives and not rings, by the way. He was talking about wives.
Yeah. but in my drawer is a backup silicone wedding ring, and it looks the same as my black one, but I do have a second wedding ring.
Nice, smart, dude. Fact. Smart. Okay. Yeah, I've seen dudes wearing those. I just need to find my real one, and then we'll go from there, man.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys. So yeah, I think going back to what you were saying, Dale. It kind of plays in. Yeah, the tech is great, and people can reproduce that. But what you're getting into as well is the community aspect of it, right? And I think as we have AI, you can build stuff fast. I mean, within a year, you're gonna be able to just talk to it, and it'll build anything you want, right? This is what's gonna happen in a year.
Absolutely.
Now you still have to have some engine, and this is coming from someone who builds apps, right? And in a year, it's gonna be you talk to it, and it'll build you anything you want, right? And then it's gonna come down to style and design, brand, and then it's gonna come down to community, right? What are the moats that are gonna be left? You look at all these D2C drink companies, all the ingredients are the same. Right? Same Absolutely. Exact ingredients in all these drinks, but people buy the other one over. Liquid Death is an amazing example. It's freaking water, dude. I get it unlimited from my sink for free, but I still pay the $3 because I'm hell yeah, it's cold and it looks cool, Yeah. So So, I think a lot about this because my investors always like, whenever you're raising or dealing with all this, they go, what's your moat? And I'm just honest with them. I'm like, honestly, there is no moats left besides brand and community. Like,
right.
And if someone tells you like, otherwise they might be high. There is going to be some technology like crazy high tech battery technology or nuclear or something that takes millions of dollars to develop. Sure. No one can do that over a weekend. So we're talking about SaaS here though, like simple widgets, simple tools, like DocuSign. And this is me, there was a kid online that rebuilt DocuSign.
I saw it like with 3 tools. He basically rebuilt a free version for himself of DocuSign.
Exactly. So it's like, it's crazy. Right. And that's where the world is going. And so there's this shift also happening from like, and who knows what's going to happen because my predictions, some aren't always the most accurate, but if you were to think like, where's the world going? For me, if we're looking at a software for something, I just go and build it. Right. So we're moving to this world of personal software. I do believe that's where it's going, or almost personalized software, right? So then you start to think, well, crap, like, are people going to need to build these platforms anymore? Or are they just going to build because the platforms are still one to many. You're trying to appease a few different, like one ICP, ensure that, whatever, but still if you have tens of thousands of users, you're still trying to make all those people happy. But if you had something just internal that you could spin up like that,
built it for you. So what does that mean for the state of SaaS?
That's
as a SaaS founder.
Well, dude, I was with Adam. We talk about this every freaking time. We're like, dude, like in 3 years, we're out of a job.
Make the money now.
Yeah, we're like, are we out of a job or what? No, I think entrepreneurs, founders like yourselves, like me, like we'll always like figure something out. But if you have that mindset, but in reality, though, I think, is SaaS dead? No, it's not dead. It's going to take a long time for corporations to figure this out. But I think the golden era is definitely like becoming a unicorn, building a platform, like is going to be tough. You're either going to build something and it's going to grow to 100 million in 20 months, like Cursor. I don't know if you saw that, but like, that's what I used to code. And, and you use it, and the first time you use it, you're like, holy shit, this is magic, right? And you're like, I would, whatever. But then now I also use a different version of Cursor, Windsurf, and I pay them too. So like, I'm paying for 2 because I like a little bit, I've used one for another. And so then you start to think about like, okay, well, how's this going to work in the software and the SaaS world? So
there'll be consolidation for sure. It's just like GPT, it's just like Chat, OpenAI and Anthropic. I mean, everyone's got their own little flavor of things, which may be interesting from a compatibility perspective at some point in the SaaS world. Like maybe we go back to like pure pass play instead of like the SaaS play where you're taking these individual personalized applications that can connect together at some level to provide some data at the bottom of it.
Yeah. And it's going to be almost like, what are you paying for? Like, when you go to the store and you buy water, like, what are you really paying for? You're paying for convenience.
Convenience, 100%.
So what I think is like SaaS will never die, let's say, because like a lot of people, they're not going to want to build and maintain. So most people think you build it and you're good. Maintaining it is always actually the hard 100%. Part, right? So it's a convenience factor at that point. So you're going to have to be selling.
It's the same thing as go to market. Like this whole thing with go to market. Like let me ask you a question. How often should you change your go to market strategy? Like your ICP, buying persona, value proposition. Like what's your philosophy on changing it? Or at least let me change the question a little bit. Pressure testing it. So maybe not changing it, but how often would you pressure test these things?
So it's like doing daily LinkedIn content. Once you figure out one thing, you double down on it and keep doubling down on what works. But we're always also experimenting. So, we're always pressure testing essentially, right? So
it's almost always.
It's almost always. Yeah. You're always trying to, you're always trying to find the edge, right? What's the edge?
Guess what? Like 98% of the people like are running playbooks and ICPs from like 3 years ago. And it's like,
yeah,
why am I not getting top of funnel? It's like, well, you're probably actually talking to the wrong people, by the way. And your competitors moved through and your value proposition is way old.
Yeah.
But standing out now, again, like, is harder than ever. Like, we started this conversation, Andy, with you talking about how you want more top of funnel. You and everyone else, and I mean no disrespect by that, we want more top of funnel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the game,
but
right? Yeah.
Standing out because of AI, because of things like Outreach and Sales Loft and Smart Lead and Instantly and all the other shit out there, I literally, if I were to look at my phone right now, I probably have 30 missed calls today and probably 50 missed cold emails. How do you stand out other than go to network?
Yeah. And people ask me, they're like, you have a great LinkedIn. Like you can do it. And I'm like, dude, it's yes, it works, but it's not the silver bullet, right? Don't get me wrong. It's a freaking hack for sure. Right. And it helps, but just because you have a good LinkedIn following, good content doesn't mean you're going to blow up your product. Right. So, you know, and maybe that's a positioning thing. Maybe that's an offer thing. Maybe there's a lot of competitors in the market thing. You know, there's a lot of factors, but the one thing I will say is the people that are going to win, I have this saying that the people that experiment the most are going to win the most.
100%.
That's it. It's just who can have systems to constantly, as Dale says, pressure test or experiment. And it's just like, I kind of go back to like media buyers. Like this, it's a good analogy because it's very similar to go-to-market, where if you look at their process, because I went through it because I was starting to run ads and do all this stuff. And like Facebook now does all the targeting and all the hard parts for you. All you got to focus on is good creatives. So what are they doing now? They're constantly testing creatives to see which one makes money. And then once they find one that makes money, they put more spin towards it. Guess what?
Yep.
Back to basics, right?
Yep.
You don't need to know all the crazy targeting and all that. Facebook just, their AI does it for you. And so what are they now doing? They're experimenting with all the creative, and the people that are actually doing the best with paid ad campaigns right now. I know my wife runs sales at Attentive, which is an e-com company. So we talked a lot of e-com, and I hear a lot of e-com people who run ads and all that stuff. And the people who win are just the ones that are constantly trying to figure out what the right creative is and experimenting. And so they're doing it. If they're doing 10x more creative tests, they're learning 10 times faster, or even more, right?
Well, that's just like Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He built a whole media platform just to do creative on it, right?
Yeah, and
that
like
is what
that's
he did.
it. Yeah, and so you just got to so for us, we have this. If you want to call it a, one of our cultural check boxes for the company or whatever, but it's like always be experimenting. ABE, like always be like, and no one has the right answer until we figure out an experiment and prove that is the right answer. Right?
So build shit. That
is what works. Yeah.
So build shit, sell shit, and experiment like hell.
Yeah, and experiment, repeat. Literally, that's it. Yeah. Build so for us, every time I post a LinkedIn post, we have a spreadsheet of like, okay, what did this do? What did this work? And boom, and then.
Wouldn't it be amazing if LinkedIn let you export that shit? I'm just saying.
Dude, don't get me started. But yes, exactly. And we test that, and then guess what? Then we just make more content based on the stuff that we know works, right? And like a lot of it is just like recycled of what we know already works. Like we're not creating things from scratch every time. That would be a waste. Yeah. That'd be like that'd be crazy.
That goes for anyone though. Like if you're not going back through whether you're using a tool or whether you're doing it by yourself and looking at, hey, this type of post, video, whatever, did the best, and this topic did the best, and like tweaking your content to that, you're in this rat race and this cycle, and all you're going to do is keep posting shit, and you might get the occasional one-off. And listen, not every post is going to go viral. But I promise you, if I look at my posts, whether it's about leadership or founder-led sales or my kid or health or whatever, I guarantee you there's one that if I post about, I'm going to get better results than the other. Like, it's just a fact. I love that you're tracking that. Track everything, iterate on everything, experiment often. Perfection is the enemy of progress. And just build shit and ship it, man.
Yeah. It's all about the experimentation, man. Like most people, a lot of people talk about systems, right? And like systems, but they talk about systems for things that work, right? And they're like, oh, well, do we know this works? Let's put a system. But no one has a system to keep experimenting. That's actually where all the learning comes in. right? And so like for cold email, right? We actually run our cold email just like ad campaigns, believe it or not. So they're direct response. So we're literally doing the same thing. I have a campaign that I know that works, right? And then I have two other campaigns always running that are testing new language. And then we're comparing those two against the one that we know work. And guess what? If C is beating out A that I've had running for 6 months, then we're going to move everything to C. Right?
What tool do you use for cold email?
Instantly. I use Instantly. Yeah. So we have a bunch of domain. Yeah, we do all the hacky, crazy stuff. But
I'm always curious who like Instantly versus Smartly. They're the two big ones.
Yeah, Smartly's great too. V's a friend of mine.
They're both great.
Yeah. We use Smart. We just started with Instantly, but Smartly's great. So yeah, they're both awesome. Whatever one you use, again, it's like the question people ask, should I use Photoshop or Figma?
Whichever one you like better, and whichever one you're more comfortable with.
It ain't the tool, man. It's you and how you use it, right? And 100%. So they all pretty much do the same thing. So I think when you think about it, it's this experimentation mindset that I think a lot of people aren't used to, in fast experimentation, just because how fast the world works. And that's really the big change that's happening to companies is, holy shit, we need to if we're pivoting and needing to figure out how do we get more top of funnel pipeline? Most of the time, it's not just the checkbox. What do you got to do? You got to try a bunch of shit. And the faster you try the new things, the faster you learn. So it goes back to that old startup mantra, build fast or whatever and break shit, whatever. But it's actually becoming more real than ever, I think, in today's age. So
100%.
Yeah.
We could go on and on and on. God knows Dale could go on and on and on. Dude, if we look at the word count on this episode, you win for sure.
I win everything.
Let's
check our fitness trackers.
Pull up your Aura Ring thing, dude. Let's see, man.
I shared my sleep score today on LinkedIn. I'm not ready to share my fitness score at the moment.
Did you beat Brian Johnson though on your sleep score?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know who the guy who wants the Don't Die guy? Have you guys heard of him?
No, tell me more.
He has every
oh my gosh,
oxygen. He's
a big tech guy, or he was a tech guy. He sold a company PayPal or Braintree or whatever, or he started Braintree, I think, and the payments company, and now he's on this kick. He has a Netflix documentary called Don't Die, and what he's trying to do, Adam, is not actually not die. He knows he's going to die at some point, but prolong the shit out of his life. And so he takes over 100 vitamins a day. He measures his nighttime erections as a measurement of healthiness. He does all this crazy shit to stay alive.
I just added it to my list.
Add it to if you're on Twitter, follow him on Twitter.
I can't do Twitter. That's a whole separate conversation. But I did add it to my Netflix list.
Okay.
All right, let's do some rapid fire. Before we rock and roll. All right, so you're not allowed to be in tech. You're not allowed to be in engineering. What profession are you going to be in?
Dude,
guitar playing.
Yeah, you were late, so you missed that whole conversation, my friend.
Yeah, honestly, what would I be? Shit, man. Well, I always told my grandma growing up I was going to be a Mexican novella TV star. So yeah,
nice.
Mexican novella TV star.
There you go.
Yeah,
I like it.
Let's keep it going. Yeah.
What's more difficult, starting up Distribute and getting from 0 to 1, 0 to 5, or when you're at outreach, getting into the repeatability stage, and getting true repeatability in your process and sales?
Oh man. Different times, so
yeah, that's what I mean. That's it totally different.
It's kind of hard to do a apples to apples comparison, but starting anything from 0 is just way harder, right?
Okay.
It's just way harder.
But you got a lot of variables in the outreach side. So you got to hire people. You got to broken product pieces.
Well, then you go back to that product market fit, and that kind of solves a lot of, like I said, good product
solves 99% of your fucking problems.
Yeah, but also product market fit, right? If you're the top product in that product market fit thing, that's all. But you've seen some of these companies, they're just it's not like they have a magic secret, I talked to someone who worked with Deal, right? And of course Deal is huge, and he helped them with marketing early on. And I go, dude, like, what did you do to help them blow up? Right. Cause that's like the question, right? Like what? And he goes, honestly, dude, I'm not going to lie to you. It was just right time, right place. It was a lot of luck. Like it was a lot of luck. And if you ask the founder, he'll tell you the same exact thing. So right time, right place, right idea. Right. And so, you know, that's why I think a lot of that other stuff you can solve. And sometimes it's a pain in the ass and hiring and firing and doing all that. But like, it's just part of the process. But like getting to a point where you can actually have the ability to hire is like fucking awesome. Right. So yeah, I think 0 to 1 is hard, but like maniacs like me love it. Like
sure.
Once Distribute gets flying, like will I stay running Distribute? I don't know.
No.
I love the 0 to 1 phase.
You'll go build something else.
Yeah.
See, Andy, what's your favorite guilty pleasure snack?
Oh, dude, I love ice cream. I love ice cream, dude.
What flavor?
Oh my God. Dude,
you only have one flavor for the rest of your life.
Cookies and cream. Yeah. Love it.
Early bird or night owl?
Ooh,
early bird, dude. Yeah. I'm in bed by 9. Yeah.
Brad Johnson.
Yeah. Exactly. I know before him I was in bed by 9, but yeah, I'm an early bird, man. I love
what's the first app you check when you wake up in the morning?
Probably Slack. Some of my teams in Europe, so they're ahead, and
sure.
I'm just like, oh shit, is everything okay? Yeah.
Last one as we wrap up. Dream vacation destination.
Oh man, dream vacation destination. The only continent I haven't been on is Antarctica. So I want to do Antarctica, and like, you know, what am I going to see? Penguins and ice, but like, I just want to step foot on there, and that's my dream vacation for now. So like, yeah, just to like have hit every continent.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Andy, thank you so much for joining, for spending some time with us, for hanging out. Where can people check out Distribute?
Distribute.so. Distribute.so. That's it. And then LinkedIn. That's it, guys. My LinkedIn, Distribute.so. Boom. That's it.
Awesome. So Distribute.so, LinkedIn, go check out Distribute. Andy, thanks for joining the show, man.
Guys,
thanks,
rock.
Andy.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Dale. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.